Hello my darlings and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Miranda and I am the Enchantress of Avalon. So for today's video, I decided it would be more casual and chatty and I'll just give some life updates. I want to talk about the autumn season. I want to talk about my birthday, which just passed. My last video was all about that. It was actually released on my birthday. And I want to talk about plans for the future, some things that I have going on. And actually, I want to start with those because they are related to my business. And I always start with some disclaimers and some business updates in every video, just to remind people that other than having a YouTube channel here, I also run a blog, White Rose of Avalon, which is found on my website. And I have also a business, which is an online business. So on my website, there's a shop page and you can order metaphysical services from me through that shop page. I do tarot readings, I do individual mentoring sessions, and I also teach online Fairy Queen classes. Although none of those are open for enrollment at the moment, but they are something that I offer. And beyond that, I also have a Patreon, and all of this is always linked in the description box below. If you are interested at all, if you like me, if you like my videos, if you want to have more content, because the blog is always free. You can read all of those blog posts for free. If you want exclusive content, Patreon has Patreon exclusive blog posts, several a month. I post them every week, and depending on the tiers you choose, like I have 3 tiers. So if you choose the first tier, you're promised at least one a month, and so on and so forth, up to the top tier, which gets every single blog post I post on Patreon. So beyond that, some specific updates with my business is that on October 12th, 2025, in case you're watching this in the future, and on October 12th of 2025, I am going to be doing my second in-person live event festival, because I did way back in last December and January. I did some live in-person herbal tea blending classes, which went really well, but those were like more small scale events in collaboration with another small metaphysical business. This event is the second that I've done that's a festival. I did my local Pagan Pride Festival last month in August, and then on October 12th, I'll be doing my second. It is an Oktoberfest festival, but with a twist. It has kind of a Ren Fair / Halloween twist, which is why it's on October 12th. It's, getting close to Halloween at that point, and I'm super excited to be a part of this. It is hosted by another local small business, or relatively local small business, who is metaphysical in nature. And I actually met the owner of that business at the Pagan Pride I vended. So she offered to have me as part of this event at that time. So that is awesome. And that's part of what's amazing about doing these events, is having collaboration opportunities and meeting other small businesses and kind of, forming bonds throughout that community, because we need to support each other. So yeah, I'm super excited for that. I will again be performing tarot readings in person at that event. I will link the event page, the Facebook event page, down in the description box below. If you're local or going to be in the area on October 12th, maybe come and check it out. It's going to be super fun. There's going to be tons of different metaphysical, witchy vendors there, and lots of other things. I know that there are some, I believe there's some lectures, there's going to be some games, there's going to be, she even announced like trick-or-treating for kids. Some of the vendors are going to be handing out candy. It's going to be super fun. Oh, and there's also a basket raffle or basket auction that's going on. So lots to do there on that day. And I'm just so happy to be a part of it. And I'm so thankful to the owner of Woodsy Witch, which is the name of the business that is hosting the event and organizing it. I'm so grateful that she had invited me to participate. It's Very, very exciting. And I've been getting all prepped out for that. I'm pretty much ready to go. I think I only have 1 or 2 more little things to do before I'm ready. The great thing about events is that a lot of the things are one-time purchases. Like, obviously I already have tables, chairs, tablecloths, canopy, because it is an outdoor event, and so is my last one. I already have all that stuff. My signs, I had my signs made for the last event, so it's just, you know, pretty much me packing up my tarot cards and getting ready. But there's a few things that I'm also having to get together, which I'm assuming each event will have its own different things to do and to get together for. So very exciting. And I'm thrilled. I feel really, really good. And because it's also like Ren Fair / Halloween vibes, we also get to dress up, which, I mean, I always dress nicely when I'm going to be doing anything related to my business. But I also just I like to dress nicely to begin with. I like clothes. So of course I dress nicely, but I get to actually dress up and get a little extra because of the Halloween vibe. And I already know what I'm wearing. It's gonna be fun. I love it. Yeah, so that's awesome. And the other thing that is specifically related to my business, I'm just looking down at my notes. The other thing specifically related to my business is that I recently, on my Patreon, already announced this on Patreon, the blog post announcing it on White Rose of Avalon is going to be going live tomorrow, actually. But it is that I am going to be in the spring, so it's a ways away. It starts in March. I'm going to be doing a practical magic book club, which is exactly what it sounds like. We are going to, over 4 months, March, April, May, and June, be reading the whole series of practical magic books. So there's 4 books, 4 months. We'll be reading them in publication order. And then on Patreon, if you join at any of my 3 tiers, I have 3 paid tiers, pick one. Everyone's able to participate because I wanted the most amount of people to join in as possible. If you love practical magic, you can join even if you're only there for the 4 months. Be happy to have you for the 4 months. And if you end up really liking the extra content that I have on there, because you're still going to get all the bonus contents that's always there, you know, all of the blog posts, individual tarot readings at the full moon for my top 2 tiers, they get that. That's always going to be available. It's going to be going on for those 4 months, as well as the book club. So if you enjoy, maybe you'll stick around. But even if you're only there for 4 months, to soak in the practical magic vibes leading up to the sequel film coming out in September of next year, so a year from now, yeah, be happy to have you. It'll be really, really fun. But yeah, so we're gonna do in publication order, starting with practical magic, then moving on to rules of magic, then magic lessons. That's Maria's story. It's the oldest, goes back the farthest, I should say. And then book of magic, which is the final book of the series. And that will allow us to also, you know, kind of speculate what they may have pulled from that to put into the movie. And then by the end of June, you'll have read through the entire series, whether you have or haven't before, and you'll be prepared, you know, for the movie. It'll be great. It'll be so fun. Also, we're going to do comparison contrast when we read practical magic, book to movie. There's a lot of differences. And then what have you. There's a lot we could do. I'm going to have a specific group chat devoted to the Practical Magic Book Club, and then we'll do a live at the end of every month where I'll do the plot breakdown, and then we'll all get to share our thoughts on the book. And like I said, we can do comparison and contrast between book and film. We could analyze where inspiration was drawn. It's going to be super fun. So I hope you'll consider joining me for that if you do love practical magic. Like I said, so it begins in March 2026. The beginning of March will begin reading the first book. We will, the chat will open up for us to discuss as we're reading. And then at the end of March, we will do our first get together meeting for the Practical Magic Book Club. It is so exciting. I do want to apologize. I can hear the recycling being taken out right now. I don't know if you can hear it. So if you can, I apologize. If not, then I just said it for no reason. Anyway, so beyond the Practical Magic Book Club, that's actually, I think that's pretty much it that's going on right now at this very moment for my business. But I'm just so excited, and there's so many opportunities that can present themselves over time, and even just, you know, meeting the owner of another local small metaphysical business who was organizing another event, and that's how I got the second event. All of these things go into the growth of a business, especially when it's as tiny as mine. So really appreciate it. I appreciate everyone who watches these videos, who reads my blog posts, who does order a reading. That's amazing. Or order a mentoring session. All of my students, everything. I'm so grateful for that. And of course, grateful for my patrons, grateful for the people who get in-person readings when I'm at events, grateful for the contacts I form through meeting other small metaphysical business owners. So yeah, I like to lead with gratitude, and I've had a lot to be grateful for, especially looking back over the past year, because I always do that on my birthday, and yeah, there's been so much to be grateful for. So I'm grateful, and I'm super excited for whatever may happen next. And actually that's a perfect lead in, because I did want to talk a little bit about what I did for my birthday, how I celebrated, etc., and share some of the gifts I got. I have a pile over here, a small pile of gifts, and I'm actually wearing a gift, so I'll just show that. So my parents gave me these really lovely earrings. They literally look like water has been solidified, like it's a frozen water droplet. And I think that is brilliant. It's so pretty, very mermaidy, which is very much my style. And it was also from a small business. My dad got it from a small jewelry, a small handmade jewelry business. I guess she was retiring and she had a sale, so he got, he was like kind of going crazy, getting a bunch of stuff. He got stuff for my mom and stuff for me for my birthday. He got the earrings. Super excited, super happy with them. They're beautiful. And yeah, my father has really great taste in jewelry. He bought them online, so that was my dad. My mom does not online shop, just her preference. So yeah, that was my dad that picked those out. But my mom and I both really love jewelry, so he has developed a very good taste in jewelry over the years. So with that, just move over my notes for a moment, and I will grab the little stack of stuff. Okay, so firstly, the other presents I have are the ones from my husband, Andrew, and he got me 3 books this year because I'm a major reader. I don't know if people who watch my videos realize how big of a reader I am, other than knowing that I study folklore because I talk about folklore all the time. But I'm a major reader of not only folklore, but also I love magical books. I love novels as well, especially fantasy novels and horror in the Gothic vein. I love Gothic literature. So with that, he got me the new Hour of the Pumpkin Queen book. This was just published. I think it released mid or late July. And yeah, I've obviously wanted to read this because I read the first one back in, I think it was 2022 it released. And I loved it. I thought it was super sweet follow-up to the Nightmare Before Christmas movie. And then this is a sequel to that, taking place about a year later. I'm jazzed to have this book because I'm a huge Nightmare Before Christmas fan. I love The Nightmare Before Christmas so much. And I think this is better than trying to do a sequel film. I know that they've discussed, and basically if they were doing a sequel, they'd want it to be stop motion. That's really time consuming and costly to do stop motion animation for a film. So that's never coalesced. But also, I don't think a film would really capture the true magic of that first film again. I don't think you can capture lightning in a bottle twice, especially this far on. So I like the idea of having these kind of follow-up books. We get to learn more about Sally. We got a lot of her backstory in the first book. And then this book is, it's really good so far. Seeing how far she progressed between the books and everything, and really feeling into her nature as the Pumpkin Queen, her power as the Pumpkin Queen, and all that responsibility when she married Jack, because the first book starts with their wedding. I love it. It's really cute. I am enjoying it so far. I'm about halfway through, as you can see there. Then he also got me Seeking Fairy, an introduction to the world of the Fae, and this is by Emily Carding, and it also has art by, I do not know how you say, Ciolo Thompson. I'm sorry if I didn't say that right. I do not know, but it's adorable. It's a little book, but it is hardback, and it is a fairy magic book. I really enjoyed Emily Carding's Fairycraft, which was a book I read, I think last year for the first time, but I know it was published a long time ago. I think it's almost 10 years since that one's been published. Maybe longer. It might be longer. But this one was published, just a few years ago, I think. And I have wanted to read it since it was published, and I'm really glad that I finally have the chance to read it. I always love seeing different people's experience with the Fae through books that they've written about experiences with the Fae, and also on how they connect and are recommending you connect with the Fae realms. This does say an introduction, so it's probably going to be pretty, a lot of overview, pretty basic knowledge, but it might go into some interesting realms. So of course I will love reading this. And again, most of the books I read, I do also review on my blog. So if you like book reviews, I do a lot of those on my blog. I also do a lot of reviews of fantasy, horror, and any kind of like legendary folklore based films. I do a lot of that, where I'll analyze, I like to analyze media for deeper meaning and how it applies to, especially the magical practitioner, when it's like magic systems in media and stuff. So if you enjoy that, my blog is the place to go, because I don't really do that as much here on my YouTube channel. In any case, yeah, I will be reading this and we will see. But since I did like the author's first book, I'm sure I will enjoy this quite a lot. And the artwork, I've already flipped through. The artwork is really lovely. Here, let me just, so pretty. So yeah, I think this will be a good read. And yeah, I will say what kind of level of fairy magical practitioner it's best suited for, because obviously I've been practicing fairy magic for a very long time, and I have a very, very strong connection with the Fae in general. So yeah, it's exciting. So I'm just really, really delighted to be able to read another book about the Fae and about fairy magic. And I'm always interested in what legends get pulled from and what have you. It's one of those things that you can never read too many, because I am an Avalonian priestess, and I go by the Enchantress of Avalon because that is very much the seat of my path and the center of my path. And Avalon is a fairy realm. So I think that if you follow an Avalonian path, the Fae are intrinsically there. At least that's my opinion. And then the final book he got me, moving on, is The Path of the Priestess by Sharon Rose. And A Guidebook to Awakening the Divine Feminine is the subtitle of this book. So he had to get it used. I don't know if this book is, I think it's pretty accessible either way, but the copy he happened to get was used, which I'm great with that. I do love supporting buying used books because, you know, we don't want them to get destroyed and we don't want extra waste and what have you. And it's in really good shape for a used book. So I'm excited to read this one. It's been on my to-read list for quite a while because, again, as a priestess, I like to read different people's experiences on the priestess path. And I know this combines a lot of the author's personal experiences with the actual priestess energy that the author is trying to embody and the actual priestess rituals and what have you. So I'm really excited to see what this one's all about. I was actually very surprised just by the size of the book. It is obviously almost coffee table size. So that's great because there's some really beautiful illustrations and photos in the book. I've already flipped through and I'm happy that I'll finally be able to read this one. And now the other things I wanted to show and discuss was that for my birthday, my husband was asking, well, what did you want to do for your birthday? Do you want to go to the movies? Do you want to go out to eat? What do you want to do? And I was like, I actually want to go physical media hunting. Because again, I like to buy things used and I also do collect physical media, not only books. I obviously prefer actual physical books to ebooks or audiobooks. It's just a personal preference, but I also love collecting film and television in physical media. And also we collect vinyl. But specifically I was looking for movies. And so for my birthday, we went to a local, it's a local record shop that sells a lot of used media. And I was able to find a couple Blu-rays and a DVD collection while I was there. And it was great because, again, you're buying used, so you're supporting people not filling landfills with things. And you're also supporting the idea of not having to have everything digitally because things go off of streaming services. And streaming services are expensive, so a lot of us don't have all of them. So there's that as well. And yeah, it's just, I think it's important because having a collection of physical media, this doesn't go away. You have that forever. So firstly, I found Ready or Not on Blu-ray. I love this movie. It was so fun. My husband had not seen it, so on my birthday, this was the movie we watched together. And it was hilarious watching him watch the movie because he didn't know what to expect, and it's very kind of slow to start if you know this movie. And then once it got really chaotic, he's just like, oh wow, okay, yeah, that was fun. So I got Ready or Not. I'm just gonna have a sip of coffee. One moment. I also, that was a great find, but so is this. I was able to get Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut on Blu-ray, which again, so shocking that these things are things that people would not want in their collection and would purge them from their collection. And excuse me, I have a tickle in my throat. That these are films that people would not want to keep in their collection permanently, but I don't know, maybe they got an upgrade or something. But yeah, love this film. It is one of Kubrick's best, in my opinion. I would probably say this one and Lolita are my favorites because I do like a psychosexual thriller type of film. And Lolita's not perfect. I will say this. Lolita is not perfect. It's a film that really shouldn't have been made into a film. It should have been left as a book. And no, it's not a romance. I want to be very clear. I do not view Lolita as a romance. But yeah, Eyes Wide Shut is great. And I'm so glad to finally have more Kubrick in my collection. I don't actually have that much in my physical media collection, and it's good to rectify it. And then what I was possibly most excited for is I found the Creature from the Black Lagoon, and this is the Legacy Collection DVD, okay? So these DVDs were released back in 2004. They did sets of them. So we have 2 discs, and it's all 3 Creature from the Black Lagoon films, and there is different special features, including a documentary is one of them. Now, there were 4 sets released, as you can see. They're even advertising the other 3. I already had the other 3. And I should note, I found all of these physical media hunting over the last decade. I did not buy these back in 2004 when they were originally released. So I finally completed a collection, and that felt really good. This does not have the slipcase that these ones have, but I'm assuming it probably was just really damaged because these slipcases get damaged real easy. Or possibly, for whatever reason, Creature didn't have a slipcase when they released them. I'm not positive. But this is Frankenstein, obviously. But you can see, same way, Legacy Collection. Their matching set, then Dracula. And Wolfman. So Creature was the hardest one to find. So really happy to finally have him. And I rewatched all the films, obviously, because I now have them. And the first one especially, I forgot how much I loved that film. I genuinely love the first Creature from the Black Lagoon film. I also genuinely love the second one. The second one is almost as good. But it isn't as good. The third one is, it's a film that had so much potential, but I think they were producing them too quickly, and they knew it was going to be the final one. It's final Universal Monsters. Like, you should still watch the final Creature from the Black Lagoon film if you do get the chance and you like Universal Monsters. But I don't know if other people would agree with me when I say this, as someone who's a big fan of the Universal Monsters and monsters in general. I also love the Hammer horror films. I don't have as big of a Hammer horror collection, though. I have almost all the Universal Monsters, as you can see. And almost all I will explain in a moment. But the third one, the premise was really interesting, and I think that the commentary, because they're essentially all eco horror films, early eco horror films. The commentary about, not messing with nature is a good commentary to have, and I agree with it. I just think it was not executed amazingly. I would have liked it to be executed a little better. And I also didn't like the characters at all. I like Gilman. That's what the creature's actually called in the movie. He's called Gilman. But I did not like the other characters. At least in the first films, I liked the female leads of the films. So it happens. Now, when I said that I had almost all of the Universal Monsters films in my physical media collection now, that may seem weird because I have that complete collection. They didn't put every single film out in that collection. They did not put out The Invisible Man, they did not put out The Mummy, and they did not put out Phantom of the Opera. Yes, Phantom of the Opera is included because there are 2 films that were produced by Universal during this era. Well, one technically predating, because the Lon Chaney Phantom of the Opera movie from 1925 was produced by Universal, which is still the most book accurate Phantom of the Opera film. It's amazing. I love that film. And then there was also a 1943, I want to say, with Claude Rains. That film, not my favorite. It's not bad. It's very much a well-made film, but it has just plot issues that I don't like. They changed a lot of stuff, and that's also the first Phantom of the Opera film that gave us, oh yes, he was disfigured by throwing acid in his face. In the book, he was born disfigured, and in more book accurate films and plays, he's born disfigured. So it's a thing that I don't really like that as a plot device, because it does change the character a lot. The characterization of Eric, who is the Phantom, is changed so much when he is born disfigured, which he originally was, versus if he becomes disfigured in an accident. Because someone who becomes disfigured is going to have lived in society as a normal person, not had all of this trauma for their entire life that they have to work through. So it always makes it seem almost more extreme that you go right to, okay, I'm gonna torture and kill people and do all this insane stuff that the Phantom does, when it wasn't built up. It wasn't something that was built up over decades of your life. So it's a thing. But I do appreciate it as a film. Again, I'm just more for Eric being, you know, this tragic figure who has always been a tragic figure, and he is this misunderstood genius. I love that aspect of Eric. I'm a big Phantom of the Opera fan. I actually just got done rereading the book. I reread it right before my birthday. That's another thing I do for my birthday every year, other than, you know, any sort of magic or spending time with my husband, celebrating with friends and family. Like, the other thing I always do is I always reread one of my favorite classical books, and that means I'm either rereading Wuthering Heights or The Phantom of the Opera. I chose to reread Phantom this year on my birthday. I still usually read both books every year. It's just the other one I will read probably in like winter. I chose to read Wuthering Heights in winter this year, mainly because obviously the new movie is coming out in February, and I wanted to reread it a little bit closer to that Valentine's, actually Friday the 13th, even better, release date for the Emerald's Fennel film, which I have thoughts actually that differ a lot. I didn't know if I was going to bring this up, but what the hell. I have seen a lot of major Emily Bronte fans and Wuthering Heights fans in particular. Well, if you're an Emily Bronte fan, you're probably a Wuthering Heights fan, unless you just like her poetry, which I can't see liking the poetry and not the novel. I've seen a lot of them bashing the film for its casting choices, bashing the upcoming film for its trailer. I'd say I didn't think the trailer looked bad at all. I found it interesting, and I don't have a problem with the casting. I think that's probably controversial. I am a huge Emily Bronte fan. I have read Wuthering Heights almost every single year of my life since I was 8 years old. I was 8 when I became obsessed with that story. I read it for the first time, became obsessed, and never looked back. I've also seen almost every film adaptation / miniseries adaptation of the films, like of the story. They've done so many. I think there's probably a couple I missed, but I've seen the vast majority over the years. None of them are going to be as good as the book. They never are. I don't like that a lot of them only do half the story. Most of them do, but I would also rather a film that does half of the book well than a film that tries to do both halves and rushes, which is what usually seems to happen if they try to do actually both halves. Because for those who've not read Wuthering Heights, it's actually a multi-generational story. The first half of the book, and the most famous part of the book, it's everyone's favorite part, is the Catherine and Heathcliff story. That is the bulk of the first half of the book. And then, because this is a gothic romance horror story as well as a romantic story in a more traditional sense, but in a very dark sense, Catherine dies and becomes a ghost. That is not a spoiler. She first appears in the story as a ghost. And she's a ghost that haunts the rest of the story. So it's all told in flashbacks by two unreliable narrators, because we have a narrator within a narrator situation, which adds so much complexity. But the second part of the book is Catherine Heathcliff's children. So Catherine's daughter and Heathcliff's son, and also Catherine's nephew. That's the second part of the book. Almost never adapted. And those that try to adapt that part usually do good things. Like, I like having the same actress playing both Catherines, because yes, Catherine's daughter was named for her because she died giving birth to her, and her husband Edgar Linton named her his daughter after his deceased wife. And that's the whole thing about complexity, and there's some like doppelganger-esque intrigues with that within the narrative of the book. No one ever adapts that usually because it's really complicated. It's hard to adapt. And again, I do like when it's like the same actress playing both parts. That's great. But it's usually way too short of a film. Like, it's way too short of a film to actually adapt that. But as I said, to just finish this video off, I actually don't mind it. I think Margot Robbie's a great actress. I appreciate her being cast, and I want to give it a try. I am open-minded going into this, and I hope that it's actually going to be a good film. I like that it's an alternate take. I like that it is more broad and a little bit different. So yeah, we will just see in February what happens. But I hope you've liked this chatty little video, and I will see you in the next one. And until then, if you want more content, I have plenty of other videos and tons of blog posts for you to check out. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye now.